What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got an absolute ton of stuff to talk about, of course, for Destiny 2. As you know, last week I was in Florida for GuardianCon, which was amazing. Huge shout out to all of you guys that I met there, but of course, back inside the world of Destiny, there's a new update, there's new exotics, and a bunch of stuff to talk about. So there really is a lot to go over. Of course, some parts are available right now inside the game, some a little bit later, and as well as that, Bungie changed quite a lot inside the game itself that you may not have noticed. So I want to kind of round up everything and summarize all in this one video. There's a lot of little bits to digest. Of course, don't forget to drop a like rating down below if you want to support this channel, and let's jump into it. So talking about some new stuff and of course exotic items, this is going to be mostly inside the Solstice of Heroes event. Of course, that is in 2 weeks from now, which is going to be on the 31st. So we have a new engram type, which is called the Solstice Engram, very similar to the Dawning and Crimson Doubles. This is going to be earnable through actually in-game grinding, so XP, and of course you can also buy them from Eververse if you want to as well. So you've got things like the Grey Hornet, which is an exotic sparrow. This is kind of like a biker motorcycle style design. Pretty cool sparrow. It's definitely very weird looking. You got other ones like the Blacklight Razor, which is like a weird neon like laser type one. You've got an exotic ship called the Estival Excursion, an exotic ghost shell called the Archipelago Pitch, if that's how it's pronounced. I think it's based off like a football or a soccer ball of the World Cup, I guess. The perk on it doesn't seem too good. It's just got the Speed Demon for sparrows, which is honestly not that great for ghost shells. Your vehicles take less time to summon and reload all your weapons while you ride. This one is really cool looking. It's the Predator Sun Shell, which is like a really dark looking sun, I guess, off the Solstice event theme. Its perk is the Public Defender, so increased loot from all public events. There's some emotes, so a festival dance with like these wings coming out his back. Also a fishing emote where you like literally pull up some stuff on a rod and everything. There are also some new exotic weapon ornaments. So finally a new one for the Merciless, which I know a lot of people have wanted for a very long time. This one's like black and red themed. We have another one for the newly introduced Cerus regime called the Grey Nitrate. There's a pretty cool one for the Jade Rabbit. This one is the Raging Lepus, so it's black and red themed. And also a Sturm ornament called the Sudden Squall, and this one's like all kind of rusty and dark themed. Something pretty interesting is the new Solstice armor sets, which is actually upgradable, and we can see how you do that progressively. These armor sets for all classes start off as that broken gear when you first get kicked off the tower and your armor's all just destroyed. I know a lot of people ask for that gear to be infusible and for us to be able to actually earn it and wear it properly, but now you can upgrade it and infuse it and wear the old kind of broken set if you want to. So you're going to earn this by progressing in the Solstice quests and events and activities to do, which is mainly the campaign missions kind of redone with apparently new enemies and new surprises inside them. So this is the legendary Titan helmet, for example, obviously the best version you can get. You can make it look like that old kind of green broken set through an ornament, so it's all visual, still infusible and has the perks, but it looks like the old green set. There's also the blue one, which is the slightly restored version, again as an ornament, and on top of that also the chroma, which you can apply to any set you want to make it look kind of glowy in certain colors. So for example, the helmet is to complete the Nightfall at Prestige at or above the bonus threshold. Also the arms, you've got complete heroic strikes with at least one clanmate. The chest piece is actually pretty difficult. This one wants you to complete the Leviathan raid on prestige difficulty, which isn't easy for a lot of people. Also the legs are achieve the legend rank in the Valor Crucible ranking system, and then the class item is just to defeat bosses, so pretty vague, but most of them are very kind of varied in terms of different areas of the game. Now I did also want to talk about the new raid stuff. Of course, the prestige version of the Eater of Worlds Red Lair came out. The modifiers basically force you to use a set weapon loadout, as we know, so a primary pulse rifle, a secondary SMG in the energy slot, and a heavy grenade launcher. They also force you to basically cycle through weapons, so none of your guns have any reserve ammo, just one magazine. So your primary is going to have a magazine, empty that is going to give one to your energy slot, empty that's going to give one to your heavy slot. You have to keep going through. This definitely does make things kind of awkward, because not only are primary pulse rifles and energy SMGs and grenade launchers pretty much the worst weapons in the entire game, especially for raiding and this raid. Also on top of that, you can't use weapons that reload perks like Outlaw, Kill Clip and things like that. In terms of my impressions after beating it, I like the kind of idea and the premise of the modifiers, but I definitely am not a fan of the weapons it forces you to use. If it was swapped around and you had an energy pulse rifle and a kinetic SMG, that would make things a ton easier because there are loads of good weapons in those slots, but these weapons in particular aren't too great. So it definitely was successful at making things a little more difficult, making you feel pretty weak, and also just throwing you in the deep end with a bunch of weapons you never ever use. But do comment down below, what do you guys think of the modifiers? Have you played it? Or from what you've seen, what do you think of the modifiers so far? In terms of the rewards, of course, you can get 400 power level weapons, and this is where there's quite a lot of confusion in terms of how these things work. So yes, you can earn 400 power level weapons, but you can't infuse them to just any other weapon you want to. There's actually a very specific set you can infuse into, and those are exotics because they have no cap, on the highest infusion level. So if you look at your legendary weapons, they have a max infusion cap of 380. So do not infuse any 400 raid weapons you get into a legendary. It won't work. It will do nothing and it will stay at 385. For the time being though, you can actually infuse these 400 weapons into exotics. So there's no cap on those. So if, for example, like me, you have a raid pulse rifle with thousands of masterwork kills and you want to infuse even a raid pulse rifle that you get into your kind of masterwork version, you can't do that either. Even though they're both raid weapons, you can't do that. So you better hope you get a good weapon that you actually like and want to infuse. I myself got the sidearm, which is complete trash. I'm never going to use it, and there's not even exotic I would want to infuse it into either, so pretty much a wasted thing for me. So that is how the level 400 weapons work. Again, the armor for Solstice is going to work the exact same. You can only use that, not infuse it to other items. I know the system is very confusing and definitely not as we expected it to work, but hopefully that explained it well enough. And again, comment down below what do you guys think of it. So next up, I want to take a look at a bunch of the buffed exotics which have been changed in pretty big ways. These in particular are the hunter exotics. So first, the lucky raspberry. As you can see, I've just pulled out the vault is 205, but we're going to take a look and see what it does now. So I'm going to show you inside Escalation Protocol because there's a ton of thralls going to spawn. But basically, it's kind of like the Orpheus rig, but for grenades, the arc block grenade. If I zap 4 of these dudes, then it's going to give me a nade back every single time. I can just keep on doing it over and over again. Probably not massively helpful in most situations, but I guess if you know strikes really well and you know where the enemy is going to spawn, you can always just keep zapping dudes like that. Anyone? No, I missed it that time. So you can see the range isn't massive. Obviously, you still need to aim them pretty well. Of course, the original perk of it having a chance to refill it is still there. So you can still get lucky and it might randomly just do it for you. But obviously, if you hit 4 enemies, it is guaranteed. So that's pretty much a kind of a nice way to know you're going to get one back like that pretty much. I guess the main question is this better than the Raid and Flux, for example? Probably not, to be honest. Again, it depends what you're doing. If there's a bunch of ads, it may be more helpful, but I think clearing enemies that can be killed by the arc bolt isn't crazy helpful. The Raid and Flux is obviously ridiculous when it comes to boss damage, so it's kind of hard to outmatch that, but it's definitely nice to kind of have an Orpheus rig style grenade thing going on. The next one I did want to look at are the Stompies. These, of course, are the kind of mini Bones of AO, definitely the closest thing to Bones in Destiny 2 so far. So right now, of course, I've got triple jump on, and this is basically going to improve it. And you can see it does actually thrust you pretty far forward. So it's not quite as good as the original Bones of AO. Obviously, it gives you a lot more height as opposed to kind of forward momentum. Obviously, before this used to only affect the high jump, so it'd make you jump even higher, like a ridiculous height. But as you can see right now, it's kind of like a hybrid. It turns the triple jump into a kind of a mini high jump as well, and I just died. Cool. So comment down below, what do you guys think of this? Have you tried it? All of you hunters out there, what do you think of this new kind of mini Bones of AO? I know a lot of people really love it and they're definitely very on board with the change. A lot of people think it's not really enough, but I mean, whether you like this jump or not, I think it also does beg the question, are you going to use these over something like the Orpheus rig, which is very, very hard to choose in PvE? Then you got things like Crucible, where it would be a lot more useful than PvE, where of course movement and jumping over people is very, very helpful. But then you've also got exotics like the Wormhusk Crown, the helmet, which is probably one of the best exotic helmets in the game for hunters. So it's definitely very hard to compare, but regardless, it does what it says on the tin. It makes the jump a lot better, and it now affects triple jump. So it's definitely a very good kind of upgrade and kind of makes it a bit more useful as an exotic itself. Another one which isn't as easy to demonstrate is the young Ahamkara Spine, the gauntlets for the trip mines. So these, in addition to increasing the duration they last and the blast radius, also you can throw them a bit faster, so it's kind of better handling. It also makes them harder to destroy, which is obviously a Crucible thing, so people try and shooting it's going to be a little bit harder. And the main thing is that it does give you some energy back if you get hit. So if I lob it right there, it's going to give me about a third. So I think it's 33% they said, but that's basically what it does now. Again, nothing crazy over the top, but if you do like trip mines, it's definitely going to be a great one for you. So now we've jumped over to my Warlock, who has some new stuff to check out. These are the bounties. So of course the Crucible ones and the Vanguard basic strike ones. The rewards are definitely nothing crazy. So you've got Crucible rewards, which I think are tokens, legendary gear, so engrams, and also shaders. Obviously these are going to be a lot more helpful in Forsaken, where there's actually new stuff to get, and also chasing light levels, getting engrams is a thing again. Bungie did also say that in Forsaken there's going to be a lot more bounties with a lot more vendors, even exotic bounties as well. As of now though, these are what to expect, so nothing crazy. We've got some ugly shaders, some tokens, more tokens, get a legendary or one of those things, a legendary shader. We have more tokens, even more tokens, an engram which will bring me low light level, and more tokens. And these dismantle into, well, that one's blue, so it goes into nothing. And this one goes into legendary shards. So it's very similar to Destiny 1. They're basically extra things for you to kind of do and check off while you're playing. Nothing fantastic out of them, but again, in Forsaken, they'll be a lot more useful. Now, as many of you also know, my Warlock is my last one to hit 385, although I do love this Warlock. He is actually my last one. So the only thing missing is my bond. I've got everything else 385, obviously the weapons, just the bond, which is 384. Honestly, I would be surprised. It'd be a miracle if we don't get a bond out of all these milestones. I do also, of course, have the 400 sidearm, which I'm never going to use, but that's a thing. It boosts me to 387. I want to see what happens if I put a mod into this. I'm assuming it goes to 405, and there you go, 405. And I could also put this into my Rat King sidearm if I want to, and this would be 405 as well. But like I said, do not put it into a legendary. If I put it into a legendary sidearm, it would just keep it as 385. It wouldn't boost it. All right, Zavala, you disappointed me. That is not a bond. I'm pretty sure Shax is the one to give me what I need for my Titan. Is he going to help me out? Nope. Helmet and a shotgun. Cryptarch, you want to give me a bond? Nope. Sidearm. Oh, there you go. There's the bond. Nicely done. And that rounds off my Warlock as 385 or 387 technically is already. So let's put that into this bad boy. And we are 387 and pretty close to 388. So I'm not really too sure what I'm going to do with that sidearm. I guess I'll just keep it because it's highlight level. Oh, big bright dust. That's pretty cool. And the home run, I'll take that. Also, this week, she's selling the popcorn emote, which is funny because I just got it. You got this thing, you got the cool helmet ornament, you got these, which are from Crimson Doubles, which is actually a mistake. This is a bug on Bungie's behalf. These, of course, were supposed to be exclusive, so you only got them during Crimson Doubles, and it's supposed to be never obtainable again, but now you can buy them, which is kind of 50-50. I mean, on one hand, they are supposed to be exclusive and rare for people that actually grinded during that week, but I guess it's also cool for people that didn't get to do that. I don't think Bungie are going to remove them, but again, this is a bug. They're not supposed to be sold, but they actually are. And also in the update, you can now preview transmat effects, so you can see them in the menu for the first time. And then poor old Cade 6, who has literally a month and a half to live. His days are numbered. Oh, not bad. Cade 6 is feeling generous now. And it is also, of course, Faction Rally, which is very random. I still don't know why Bungie have crammed so many into like a month and a half. But this is the last Faction Rally of Season 3. It's the final one. There's no more, not even in August. So this is your last chance to get to that final faction. I'm assuming everyone's going to go for New Monarchy this time around because Dead Orbit won the first one, Future War Cult second, and now these would be their chance. Also, of course, in the update, you can now directly buy armor, which is definitely very nice. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you did enjoy it, then a like rating down below is massively appreciated. If you want to stay up to date with me and my channel, then of course you can subscribe down below to not miss out my videos. And of course, my Instagram and Twitter I link down below as well. Click this image on screen right now to watch another video from me. But as always, I appreciate you guys and your support, and I'll see you all in the next one.